So now let us go out and solve question 2. So I'll be very much fast and accurate, but just follow me through. So given the function f of x, you can see it, g you can see it, and h of x you can also see it. The first question is solve the equation f inverse of g of x. So it's just a matter of you first finding the inverse, then find f inverse of g, then equate it equal to 0, solve for the equation. There we go, guys. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'll find first the inverse. To find the inverse, equate f of x with y, then I'm rewriting this. Now make x as a subject of formula, cross multiply 3xy minus 4y being equal to x plus 1. Right? Yes. Now then from here, what else do? We make x as a subject of formula, so we have xy minus x, I'm shifting x to the other side, should be equal to 1 plus 4y. Then what am I going to do now is to make x as a subject of formula. I'll factor out x, 3y minus 1 being equal to 1 plus 4y. Divide both sides by 3y minus 1, 3y minus 1. These two cancel out. My x, I'll put it here. My x is 1 plus 4y divided by 3y minus 1. Where there is y, put x. So f of inverse is going to be 4x divided by 3x minus 1. Now we want to find where there is x in the inverse of f, we put g, meaning f inverse of g of x will be equal to 1 plus 4. Where there is x, now put g. G is x squared minus x divided by 3, then x minus 1. Now we've been told that equate this equal to 0, so this will be equal to 0. So now we have 1 plus 4 times x squared is x squared minus 4x. I divide this by 3x squared minus 3x minus 1 being equal to 0. So you can cross multiply. Everything on the denominator will be multiplied by 0, which is going to be 0. So it's like I'm going to have the numerator to be equal to 0. So I have, now I'm going to start writing 4x minus 4x plus 1 being equal to 0. My product is 4, positive 4. My sum is negative 4. What are the factors? The factors will be negative 2 and negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2, positive 4. Negative 2 minus 2, negative 4, which is perfect. So I'll put here 4x squared minus 2x minus 2x. This is supposed to be x plus 1 equal to 0. Factor out 2x here. I'll remain with 2x minus 1. I'll factor out 1 here. I'll remain with 2x minus 1 equals 0. So I'll remain with 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1 still. So equate this equal to 0. We have the same things, just get 1. So the answer will just be equal to 1. 2x is equal to 1, x being equal to 1 over 2. That's the answer for this question. So this, I've just gotten 1 because they are the same thing, and I'll end up having the same answer. So that's why I don't have to bother myself. Let's go ahead and solve part 2. So part 2 is h of g of x. So where there is x in h, let's put g. So the square root, it is 4. Where there is x, we put now h. What is h? Sorry, where there is x in h, we put g. X squared minus x minus 3, like that. So it will be 4x squared minus 4x minus 3. So the question is, find the domain. Now, to find the domain, this is a logical function. To find the domain of the logical function, get what is in the square root greater than or equal to 0. So for x. Now, this is a quadratic. So you have to find the product and the sum. Now, the moment it is a quadratic, you are going to have more than one solution. If you are finding the domain of a radical function, then you have got more than one solution. Just know that you are going to, that is an inequality. What is the product? Negative 12, because it's 4 times 3. The sum, negative 4. The factors will be negative 6 and positive 2. If I do negative 6 times 2, negative 12. Negative 6 plus 2, negative 4. So I'll have 4x squared minus 6 plus 2x minus 3 greater than or equal to 0. Factor out 2x here. I'll remain with 2x minus 3. Factor out 1 here. 2x minus 3 greater than or equal to 0. What else? 2x plus 1. 2x minus 3 being greater than or equal to 0. 2x plus 1 greater than or equal to 0. 2x minus 3 greater than or equal to 0. Shift this one to the other side. 2x greater than or equal to -1. Then x greater than or equal to -1 over 2. What of this one? Shift 3 to the other side. Then x will be greater than or equal to 3 over 2. But the issue here is these answers are contradicting. Another one is saying that x should be greater than or equal to -2. Another one is saying that x should be greater than or equal to that. So you have to put this on the table. So I'll put this on the table. Let me shift it on top. I'll have my table. That's my table. So the first critical point is -half. The second one, 3 over 2. Here I can put 2. Here I can put 0. Here I can put a number which is less than that critical point. Here you just get what you have there, this guy and that guy. 2x plus 1, 2x minus 3, like that. The last box, you put both of them, right third, like that. So if you put -1 here, it will be negative. Negative, it will be negative. Negative times negative, positive. If you put 0 there, positive. 0 there, negative. Overall, negative. If I put 2 there, positive. Positive. Overall, positive. Now, we are dealing with greater than. The sign is greater than. You get the part giving you positive. That's your domain. So I'll conclude and say my domain is from negative infinity, because this is starting from here all the way to negative infinity. This one is starting from there all the way to positive infinity, all the way to -half. Now that is included because it is greater than or equal to union 3 over 2 to positive infinity, not included. This is my domain. Now, this question is a bit complicated, like I've said. It's something that is simple, but you have to understand. So it is inequality, then you have more than 2 answers. Once you have more than 2 answers, you have to use the table method. You are talking about inequality now, to find the domain. If you just get your answers to be these are the answers, the domain, that is wrong. So let me repeat myself. If you have more than one solution, you have to put on the table and find the answer as the way you find the inequality. Okay, let's go to part B. Part B is saying express the quadratic function f of x, which which is that into in the form of that, where a and b are constant. Then we sketch the graph clearly indicating the coordinate, the turning points, and hence use your graph to state the range. So the first thing, I'm going to rearrange this, which is going to be negative 2x minus 8x plus 10. Now, using completing square method, putting it in form of that, so I'm going to say I'll factor out 2. I'll remain with x squared plus 4x minus 5. The next thing, the completing square method, you get half of this. So I'll say plus 4x plus half of that is 2 squared minus the same thing. What you have done here is exactly what you have to do there. Then minus 5. So it will be negative 2. Now you ignore this. So it will be like that. The reason why you ignore that, because this has a squared, this is also squared. So I've just put them together and put that square. So 2 squared inside there, it's 4 minus 5, like that. I'll end up having 2x plus 2, then minus 9. If I now distribute 2, it will be negative 2x plus 2 squared. Negative and the negative and negative will be that. So this is in form of that. Now sketching, the part of sketching, I need first to find the turning point. The turning point, the x value, the turning point, you are going to have x and y. So the x value is this guy, but the opposite. If this is positive, you get negative. If this is negative, you get positive. So in this case, this is positive, I'll get negative 2. This guy, you just get the way it is, 18. If you get this with the sign which you have. After doing that, the next thing is how to find the coordinate, because you can't sketch the intercept, sorry. So to find the x-intercept, is set y equal to 0. So it will be 0 is equal to negative 2x squared minus 8x plus 10. Divide everywhere by 2, so you end up having negative x squared minus 4x plus 5 being equal to 0. So the product is negative 5, the sum is negative 4. What will be the factors? The factor will be negative 4, no, negative 5 and positive 1. So that negative 5 plus 1, negative 4 times that. So have negative x squared minus 5x plus x plus 5 is equal to 0. Factor out negative x, you will remain with x minus or plus 5. Here factor out 1, x plus 5 equals 0. Negative this plus that, x plus 5, like that. Then the next thing is this is equal to 0, meaning that negative x plus 1 is equal to 0, and also x plus 5 is equal to 0. So to find the value of x, negative x will be equal to negative 1, x will be equal to 1. Another one will be x, shift 5 to the other side, negative 5. So these are the coordinates. So I have got x is equal to negative 1, positive 1, not negative 1. Let me write it here. X being equal to 1 and x being equal to negative 5. Done, right? From here, find the y intercept. To find the y-intercept, put x equal to 0. So you have y is equal to negative 2x squared minus x plus 10. Where there is x, put 0 to find the y-intercept. So this will be 0, again minus 0 plus 10. Therefore y will be equal to 10. Now that I have my coordinate, remember a is less than 0, so the graph will open like that. If a is greater than 0, the graph will open like that. That's what you should know. So from the graph which we are going to have here, before I even sketch, I know the type of graph I'm going to come up with. So I have negative 5. Remember the x again, another one is negative 2, that is, then you have got 18. The y intercept, I've got 10, and another one here 1. So what does it mean? The graph will pass there, that is my x intercept, then it will reach, that is the resting phase, it will reach here, then it turns there. So that is my turning point where the graph has to turn. So it starts from there, it goes there, reaching at that point curves, it goes there. That's the graph of f of x being equal to 10 minus 8x minus 2x squared. Now from here, what is the range? So let me first talk about the domain. The domain is just opening, like we don't know where it is ending, so it's from negative infinity to positive infinity. The range, where has it started from? In y. In negative side, we don't know where it is ending, it is going all the way to negative infinity, but it is starting from where? From 18 included. So the range is from negative infinity to 18 included, because it's part of, that's where the graph is turning. Okay, yeah, that's where the graph is turning. Now that is it for part B. Let's jump. We go to this interesting equation which need our attention and time. So the question is, solve the equation below, x and y. I'll do step by step. I'll first find the common denominator. The common denominator is x plus yi and 3 minus 4i. So I'm doing this part only. I'll come later and equate it equal to that. So if I do x plus yi, I divide it by that, I'll end up having this. Minus 1, then here I'll end up having x plus y I. Equate this equal to this. Now, let's try to expand the top part. 3 times 4, 3 times 14, sorry. So 3 times 14, that is 42. Then 3 times 10 is 30. So this should be I. Negative 4 times that, that is going to be 16. Then 4 should be 54. 56, sorry, I. Then plus, that is going to be, but it's I, so it's going to be I squared. Remember, where there's I squared, we replace it with negative 1. So that is going now to give me negative 4i times that one plus 40i. Then minus x minus I squared, because I've distributed the negative. Even the denominator is very important for us first to deal with it. X times 3 is 3x. X times that, 4xi. Y is going to give me plus 3yi minus 4yi to be equal to 3 down part 1 minus 2i. Remember, where there's I squared, so we'll replace this one with the negative, so it's going to be plus. So now let's try to add some things. We have the common things, which is 42i and 40i. So those things are going to give me 82. What else? So this guy and this guy, this is going to be now plus. Okay, what I mean guys here is this: we have 56i squared, so it's going to be negative then plus. So it's like I'm doing negative 30 plus 56, which is going to give me 26. Okay, it's going to give me 26. Yeah, it's going to give me 26, then minus rx minus y squared, or yi. So I'll divide this by, now here, do you think we can add things? No. So I'll say 3x minus 4xi plus 3yi minus 4yi being equal to 3I divided by 1 minus 2i, like that. Now reaching at this point, I can cross multiply. So what I'm going to do, I'll shift this one to be here a bit, then I get rid of this, then again I shift this, I start from top part here. Okay, so if I cross multiply, I'll start with this. So I'm doing 1 times everything here. So 1 times everything here is the same as I'm getting the same way, the way it is. So I'll get 82i plus 26 minus x, okay, minus yi. Now I'm doing now everything times negative 2. So this is going to be negative 2 times that one is going to be negative 2 times 82, okay, which is going to give me negative 164. But I and I will give me I squared, okay, minus 26 times 2. 26 times 2 is 52, so it's going to be 52i. Because of that I, plus negative and negative will cancel, so I have x I. Then again here it's going to be plus 2y I squared, okay. Then so if I cross multiply now, meaning that if I do, now I'm doing 3 times everything. 3 times that is going to be 9x, 3 times that is going to be 12xi, 3 times that 9yi, 3 times that minus 12yi. Perfect, right? Now let's try to see things which we can. Now remember that what we have, which one, the I squared. If you can see here, the I squared which we have, remember we said I squared will be replaced by, but to make things simple, this is going to be positive. That's what you should know, because there's I squared, so I squared is negative 1. Negative and this negative is going to be positive, meaning that this guy and this guy, they can add up, okay. So it's going to be 26 plus 164, okay, which is 190. So now I have got another thing. Before we go there, let's first start with this guy and this guy, they seem to be similar, so it's minus, so it's like we're doing 82 minus 52, which is 30. So that guy gives me 30i. Now we are saying that this is doesn't have I, this one is going to have now positive, so it's like 26 plus 164. So what is 164 plus 26? That is 190, so it is plus 190. What else? So this doesn't have I, we will not touch it, but this has got an I. But remember, this is I squared, so it's going to be negative, meaning these ones we're not going to touch for now. X minus I1, then plus 2xi, then this is going now to be minus 2y, because I has gone, because it is I squared. So this has to be equal to 9x minus 12xi plus 9i 9yi minus 12yi. But remember, these two guys can add up. Okay, why didn't we just add these? Anyway, let's add it from here. Let's not waste time. So um we found that okay, so that, and why is it that here I feel like this was supposed to have somehow I squared, because what we had, just a minute, what we had on the denominator, for us to come up with this, let me just allow me to do it a bit, because we are multiplying this times this, that gave me this, then this times that, it gave me this times this, it gave me 3yi. Yes, so I, this times that, it gave me negative 4yi squared. You have seen, right? Meaning that this guy here is supposed to be 12i squared, of which that I will end up giving me the positive. Perfect. So we made a mistake, we forgot I squared. So now I can write 9x I've written, 12x I have written, plus 9yi, then this is going to be now plus 12y, because I has gone. Now the thing is, I'm going to shift the part having just x and y to be to the left side, the part which doesn't have x and y to be to the right side. So this side I'll have x, negative x minus iy. What else do we have? Plus, we have again 2xi minus 2y. So I'll shift everything having x. So I'll shift this, in fact everything. So I'll have minus 12, so it's going to be plus now, going to the other side. Let me start with 9. So if I start with 9, it's going to be minus 9x plus 12xi minus 9yi, then minus 12y. Yes, like that. Being equal to, so I'm shifting again these guys which doesn't have x. Okay, I'm shifting these things which doesn't have x. So I have got 1, 2. I only have two things. So I'm going to have negative 30i minus 190. Now we can clearly say that we can add up some things. This guy can add up with that guy. So I'll end up having negative 10x done with that. This guy can add up with this one, and I'll end up having negative 10yi. So this has gone. What else? This guy can end up adding up with that guy, which is going to be plus 14xi. So that one has gone. This guy and that one will end up adding, and I'll have negative 14y. So that one has gone. This being equal to negative 30 minus 190. Okay, now I can get rid of this to make things simple and straightforward. So now I've followed step by step. I don't want you guys to have any challenge there. Okay, now the equation, the way we solve these equations, you have to isolate the guy having I on its own, the guy having x on its own, or the guy which doesn't have I on its own. What I mean is this: I'm going to say negative 10x, then I'll write it with minus 14y, which doesn't have x, which doesn't have I, sorry. Then minus 10yi plus, or it's again minus, no, it's plus. So let me start with the one for positive for x. So I'll start with plus 14xi minus 10y. yi. So this being equal to negative 30 minus, so negative 30 is I, don't forget, has got I, then minus 190. Now what you do is, the part having x which doesn't have I, you equate it equal to the part which doesn't have I here. What do I mean? This part we equate equal to that, then this part which has got I we equate equal to that part. So it will be negative 10x minus 14y being equal to negative 190. That is equation 1. Another one will be 14xi minus 10y being equal to negative 30i. Then now you can solve the equation. At this point I can divide everywhere by negative 2, so that I simplify the expression. So this will be 5x plus, because I'm dividing by negative, then it's going to give me 7y being equal to 190. You divide it by 2, should be 95. Okay, what of this guy? It's basically the same thing. I'll divide it by 2. So if I divide it by 2, there is I and I will go, and I'll end up having 7x minus 5y being equal to, so now I'm just dividing it by 2, not negative 2. Okay, it's the same. Even here you can just divide it by 2 and we end up having negative, negative, negative. It's the same thing. So then here I'm going to have negative 15. That is simultaneous equation. Now let's try to make x as a subject of formula for the first one. X will be equal to 95 minus 7y, I divide it by 5. In this equation where there is x, we put that 7 open brackets, 95 minus 7y divided by 5 minus 5y, okay, being equal to negative 15. Now to get rid of this 5, to make things very simple, do times 5 everywhere. So 5 meaning you have 7, 95 minus 7 y minus 5 times 5, 25 y being equal to 5 times 15. So 5 times 15, it should be 75. Now if we check properly here, if I do now 7, okay, 7 times 95, so 7 times 95, it should be 665. 7 times 7, 49y minus 25y being equal to 75. So add these two, it's going to give me negative 49, okay, should be 64. Yeah, 74, not 64. Yeah, it should be 74. So we are adding 49 and 25. So it is negative 74y being equal to 75 minus 665. Can I just continue it from the top here? So I have negative 74y being equal to, so 665, then you do minus 75, so it's 590, negative 590, divided by negative 74, divided by negative 74. Y will be equal to so can we reduce a bit? If I do 5, but anyway, like I think I've gone wrong somewhere, because I'm supposed to get just direct answers here, I know. So It should be somewhere when I was adding, maybe I made a mistake. But if I didn't make a mistake, you follow up. So 2 into, can I go with 2? Let's see, let's just use 2. 590 divided by 2, what do you think? That was going to be 295. Then 2 there, 3. 2 into 14 should be 37. Yeah, negative and negative has gone. There is no any number which can enter there, so we assume that that is why, if I've not made a mistake. But if you have been following up and you have seen that I've made a mistake, then this is not the answer. Now to find the x, if I've not made a mistake, to find the x, you just get this. Where there is that, you plug in the value. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: these questions, the way they come, that's why I'm tending to say I think I've made a mistake somewhere. The answer just come out perfect. Okay, so you find the answer if I've not made a mistake. But if I've made a mistake, if I've made any mistake, you can still give me the feedback as you are following from where I started from and where I am right now. Okay, so I'll quickly go to the next question, so you can finish that one. If I've made any mistake, then you let me know. So find the quadratic equation with the integer of coefficient which has that. Now here is something that is very important and basics at the same time. So we do know that when we're trying to find the quadratic equation, if I have ax squared plus bx plus c, we normally use there's alpha plus beta, which we call sum. So we have got what we call the sum. Okay, we have the sum and the sum we have the sum and the product. Okay, so one thing we have to know is that the equation of the quadratic equation of the roots is given by x squared minus, open brackets, the sum times x plus the product being equal to 0, of which we know guys, that the sum is alpha plus beta times x, the product is alpha times beta being equal to 0. Perfect, right? So now alpha plus beta is basically given by the formula, which is have I forgotten? Should be negative b, not it should be, but it's negative b over a. Then alpha times beta is c over a. But in this case, we have been given already. So what I want you to understand is that we want to find the sum and the product. So what I mean is, we have been given the alpha and beta. So we are going to add. The first thing we are going to say this: what is alpha? Alpha is 1 plus root 3. Beta is, I'm going to add 1, then this. So you know that these will cancel. I'll end up having alpha plus beta being equal to 2. Then alpha times beta, you are just multiplying 1 plus this times again 1 minus this. Remember, we've been doing this for so long, guys. This is the conjugate of that. Square the one having negative. So I'll square this. So the answer would be this: 4, 3, which is going to be 12. So it would be 1 minus 12, which is negative 11. So alpha times beta is negative 11. So you follow this formula, you put squared there, so it's x squared minus, what is the sum is 2, the product negative 11 equals 0. So x squared minus 2x minus 11 equals 0 is my equation. You can do the same to do that one, but let me do for you. So we'll do the same, we'll follow the same principle where we're saying alpha plus beta, so 1 plus I times divided by 4 plus 1 minus I divided by 4. So you are just finding, we are the denominators are the same, remember, so we just add the numerator. So 1 plus I or plus 1 minus I and I will go, end up having 2 over 4, 1 over 2. So alpha plus beta is 1 over 2. What of alpha times beta? Alpha times beta, 1 plus I divided by 4. So if I do times 1 is 1. 1 times I, negative I there. Negative I times that, then you will remain with, sorry, I times I, what? So this is supposed to be positive, yes. Then the negative, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times negative I is negative I. Negative I times 1, oh sorry, I times 1 is positive I times negative I, that is negative I squared. Perfect. 4 times 4, 16. So you know that where there is I, we put what? So these will cancel. Then we are putting negative 1. So that brings us to positive. Wait. So we have, yes, it's going to give me negative again. So I have I 1 minus that 16. 2 divided by 16, so it's 1 over 8. So alpha times beta is 1 over 8. Now let's go ahead and find the equation. So the equation goes like this: alpha plus beta times x plus alpha times beta is equal to 0. You just plug in the values. So x squared minus the sum is 1 over 2 times x plus the product is 1 over 8. So we have x squared minus this plus so 1 over 8. Do times 8 everywhere to get rid of the fraction. If you want, you can end there, but you can do times 8 to get rid of fraction. So it will be 8x minus 4x plus 1 being equal to 0. This is my final function, my final equation. So that is it for question 2. It was a bit involving. So let's we'll go ahead and talk about question. We'll go ahead and talk about question 3, 4. Question 1 I've already solved, and if you want to access it, just go back to our website, then you'll be able to access it. If you have not, if you're not registered with us and you want to access our sheet solutions, the quizzes, the test, and some more advanced practice questions which came exams for 2023 and 2022. We do have the full videos on our website. Just get in touch with Transcended Institute and then get to register and you'll be helped. So that is it for question 2. Thank you.